Hi everyone, Philip Galinsky from Samba New York here. There are many different ways that we can start and stop the samba rhythm, both in the bateria and in a small group samba context, such as a roda de samba or a samba band. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you a very typical way of starting the samba rhythm and stopping the samba rhythm with the same musical device. In Rio Samba School baterias, this musical device is known as a virada, V-I-R-A-D-A, which is a Portuguese term that we can translate literally as turnaround. In Rio's baterias, the term virada is typically used to refer to a musical device that we can use to start the samba rhythm, to stop the samba rhythm, and as a transition between sections of the song. For example, the Samba-Enredo or theme samba, which is the typical song form performed by the samba schools for Carnival. In the bateria, the virada typically sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tagaragacha chung chung. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Rest. Okay, now, as I said, the virada can be used to start the samba rhythm, to stop the samba rhythm, and as a transition between sections of the song. For example, the Samba-Enredo. Let me introduce you to the typical hand signals used by the mestres in Rio's Samba School baterias to indicate that we're going to play a virada. So if the bateria is starting from silence and the mestre gives this signal, this means turnaround or virada. So if we're starting from silence, the mestre goes like this. Typically the mestre will give some kind of cue, some count off, and then the bateria will play the virada and then launch into the groove. Very often there'll be some other hand signal given to indicate what part of the song they're going into and so forth and so on, but for simplicity's sake for now, let's just learn this hand signal, which means we're about to play a virada and then we're going to continue with our samba groove. So what that would sound like is this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bateria plays the virada on beat 1. It ends on beat 3 of the same measure. Beat 4 is a rest. Then there's going to be a pickup note on the end of 4. It's actually equivalent to the boom of boombox, played by the first surdo and the third surdo. And then the bateria is going to come in on the next beat 1 with its groove, depending on the arrangement of the bateria. Different instruments can come in different ways, but the bateria will start its groove on the next beat 1. Okay, so that goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we're going to end the samba rhythm with a virada, the typical hand signal for that in Rio Samba schools is this. So if the mestre goes like this while you're playing the samba groove, and typically there'll be another cue or count off, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the bateria will end. There's no boombox, no pickup after that because we're ending on the virada, ending on beat 3. Okay, so let me just demonstrate how it would sound if we started the bateria with a virada and we ended the bateria with a final virada. Remember that when you see this hand signal and when you see this hand signal, don't go into the virada right away. Wait for the mestre or the director to give you the count. And different mestres will count in different ways. I like to count it like this. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the next beat 1 to begin the virada. All right? Or whatever you're going into. In this case, the virada. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tagaragada, boom, boom. Okay? Now, as I mentioned, the virada can also be used to transition between sections of the song. In the Samba-Enredo or theme samba, there are no rules about how the theme samba needs to be composed, but very often the Samba-Enredo consists of 2 sections, the first part of the samba, the second part of the samba. So consequently, the mestre or the director will typically hold up a 1 or a 2 to let you know which part of the samba you're going to be going into. So for example, if the bateria is starting from silence and the mestre gives this hand signal and afterwards gives this hand signal, 1, it means that the bateria is going to play a virada and then go into the first part of the song. Okay? Now, the first part of the song is very often in the Rio Samba schools is a kind of a peak energy section of the song, of the Samba-Enredo, all right? And so very often there will be a special way of coming in and so forth and so on, but for all intents and purposes, just know that that's the first part of the song. Virada into the first part of the song, all right? So then, so the bateria plays a virada, goes into the first part of the song, and the bateria is playing its groove, and the mestre suddenly holds up 2, which means we're going to get ready to go into the second part of the song, okay? And to go into the second part of the song, you guessed it, we're going to play a virada and then go right into the second part of the song. Now, the mestre does not necessarily have to go like this, because it's generally assumed that when the signal 2 is given, that we're going to automatically play a virada to go into the second part of the song. So it's not necessary to necessarily go like this, although that may vary from mestre to mestre, okay? So second part of the samba is coming up, then the count, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, da-ga-da-ga-da, boom, 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 chaka-choo, and the bateria is into the second part of the samba. Then because the Samba-Enredo is performed in a kind of a loop, the mestre can hold up 1 again, which means we're going to go back into the first part of the samba, preceded by a virada, and so forth and so on. We can just loop the first and second parts of the samba over and over again. Now, you may have seen this hand signal, 3, or like that, which generally is used to refer to a special way of coming into the first part of the samba. Okay, but we're not going to get into that in this video. Okay, so let me just go through virada to go into the first part of the samba. The bateria goes into its groove. The mestre holds up 2. There's the count. We play the virada and go into the second part of the samba. The mestre holds up 1 again, gives the count. The bateria plays the virada, goes into the first part of the samba, and then we're going to end now, so I'm going to give the hand signal to play the final virada, and we're going to stop. Okay, so here's what that sounds and looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da-ga-da-ga-da, boom, boom. Boom, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shka. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da-ga-da-ga-da, tum, tum. Tum, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, shka, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, tuk, shka, tuk, chaka, tuk, chaka, tuk, da-ga-da-ga-da, tum, tum. Tum tum shka tuk chaka tuk chaka tuk shka tuk shka tuk chaka tuk chaka tuk shka tuk shka tuk chaka tuk chaka tuk shka tuk shka tuk chaka tuk chaka tuk da-ga-da-ga-da tum tum. Okay, so now I was just singing kind of a somewhat generic samba groove, but the bateria would play different things for the first part of the samba as compared to the second part of the samba. There will be an arrangement that happens, but just for all intents and purposes, I'm just singing kind of a basic samba groove. Okay, so this structure, this basic arrangement for a Samba-Enredo song form, or not basic arrangement, but this structure, basic structure for a Samba-Enredo is, I would say, essential for you to know if you want to play in any bateria that plays in the Rio Samba school tradition. Okay? So the virada itself, I'm going to demonstrate instrument by instrument in subsequent videos. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this clarified for you what a virada is in the context of the bateria, and I'll see you in the next video.